as I told you, I can't remember if I told you on air in the commercial, but, he's one of those guys that's been in my head because of Shedeur Sanders, where I go, oh, people are going to get on Shedeur Sanders about not being a first-round pick. There's been lots worse first-round picks than that. And Blaine Gabbert is one of the names that I use to kind of defend Shedeur Sanders, and that has totally got in my head and screwed up the whole conversation. So sorry about that.
It's as simple as this. The draft really consists of 250-plus lottery tickets. And you scratch them off through the process of drafting and developing and practicing and playing. And some of it's on you to coax more out of that lottery ticket.
That's right.
I've used that example because it is a crapshoot. And because of what you can win if you get a franchise quarterback, you're willing to take the shot, the longer odds. Like you're standing there after you got your gas, you picked out your pack of smokes, you got a couple of Kansas in, and you're looking at the scratch-off cards at the convenience store. You're willing to buy the ones where the odds are longer because the payoff is bigger. So that's why guys get overdrafted at the quarterback position.
Definitely.
Because of what it means if you scratch that ticket off and it's got franchise.
100%. That's right. The value of that position, what we've seen, right? And we've seen, the lottery strike in the third, in the sixth, all over the place. So that's the exciting thing about the draft. But you're right. There's a lot of unknowns that go into the whole thing. And I think that's, too, a little bit what you're talking about, even with the quarterbacks, is what happens in the draft, even at the top of the draft. And we see top 10, 15 picks that maybe don't work out to the same capacity that we expect a top 10 or 15 pick to do, right? Or a bust, whatever you want to say there. And it's a little bit of the same logic. Like, wait, this guy, he might not be the most complete player, but he does this one thing like so phenomenally well. He's so elite at it that let's take a chance here and maybe we can fix some of the other parts because he's so great at this. There's something special here, and we could hit the lotto, jackpot, all of that. And, of course, as we know, there's more to football than just that one thing that you might be great at. You got to be really good at some other things to support that, and that's why you do see busts, I think, in the first round more than any other round, as we know.
Back in the days before the NFL jumped fully and completely into bed with gambling, back when the NFL hated gambling,
right?
Hated it until it realized it could be one hell of a revenue stream. Back in the days when the NFL hated gambling, at one point they did soften a little bit on this issue of the scratch-off lottery ticket, and you started to see NFL-themed scratch-off tickets in various markets where the NFL does business. How about a lottery ticket that when you scratch off, it's either franchise quarterbacks or busts? I think we're onto something. So you scratch it and like it's Tom Brady, Jake Locker. Right?
Yeah.
I think we've come up
the
with
PFT lottery scale, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now I don't know where I know where Blaine Gabbert would be. I don't know where Jackson Dart would be. I definitely don't know where Blackson Gabdart would be. But maybe that's the ultimate loser or the ultimate prize. Who knows? But that's what it is. It is a crapshoot. We don't know what is going to happen. And so many factors go into it. Remember when Justin Herbert was coming out? One of the big factors was what's going to happen when he leaves Oregon?
Yeah, that was a concern. Right. I know. Some of the things that get made up at times in the draft where I think I understand doing due diligence, doing your homework, doing all of that type of stuff. But I do think sometimes things get overanalyzed a little bit. We've seen that too. We've seen one of the reasons DK Metcalf, right? I always go back to this, and A.J. Brown, why they fell. Their route tree wasn't good enough, right? That was the big thing at the time. And it was like, wait, they're a freak of nature. They can fly. When they get the ball, nobody tackles them, but we're worried that they can't run 10 yards and hit the white line and go right. That's what we're worried about, like that. So yes, it's one of those things. It seems to happen every year with a guy or two where you go, why is this a thing with this guy this year? But last year's guy had this issue and nobody talks about it. It's a little bit hit or miss when it comes to stuff like that, and that's what makes it fun and interesting too.
And I think a lot of what happens is driven by fear.
Yeah.
Fear of getting the Blackson Gabdart lottery ticket and then having to explain to the boss, to the ultimate boss, to the multi-billionaire who signs the checks and decides who stays and who goes, why you decided that ticket was the one that you wanted to purchase. When the ticket taken right after yours ends up becoming franchise quarterback or perennial Pro Bowler or whatever it was that you left on the board. That's where I think they get to the point where they overanalyze because they want to be able to say, well, this is why we took this guy. Boom, 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 boom. And you're worried about the negatives and the drawbacks that people may be putting out there so a guy will slide because they want to draft
That's very true, too.
But that's the ammunition that the owner, who is flanked by Ivy League PhD mathematicians who can now whisper into the owner's ear when and how to call bullshit on you when you're trying to word salad your way out of that awkward meeting. That's the problem. People are wisely living in their fears because they don't want to have that meeting where they walk into the room and they say, close the door and have a seat, and you have no idea where it's going to go from there.
Yeah, no, that's you don't want too many of those on your resume as a GM. It's the exact opposite. You as a GM, you want that fulfilling feeling, right? I get this at times doing this, and of course my butt's not on the line like some of these GMs and everything, but you want that fulfilling feeling to go to your owner or whoever to go, hey, we've done a lot of work, we've done a lot of research. Man, look at this guy we picked. Look at this guy we picked, right? Kind of had that feeling of like we hit the lotto. We did look at the right things. We kind of saw it the right way, and he fits in our culture, and that's what you go for. And that's why it's an addicting process. It makes it a lot of fun for all the things you're saying. You know you can be wrong. You know it's a crapshoot to a degree. But at the same time, you can have years at a position where you go, hey, there's 10 swings, and I was 7 for 10. That's not bad. That doesn't sound like a crapshoot. Maybe I know what I'm talking about a little bit. Then the next year you do, you crap the bed, and then you're not sure. But that is the addictive drug, I think, of the draft for people like me, the fans out there that are obsessed with it, and of course, evaluators in the NFL.
And there are so many factors that come into play. Is he better off far from home? Is he better off close to home? Is he mature enough to handle the money? Not that the money is as big as it used to be at the top of the draft, but that was always one of the concerns.
Yeah,
why they
of course.
harped on getting rid of the pre-2011 rookie pay scale because it was going haywire, and you had guys who were showing up. We had the conversation the other day about Micah Parsons. Maybe he doesn't carry himself or didn't when he walked through the door the way he should. And as you said, hey, if you're Lawrence Taylor, if you're Deion Sanders, if you're Micah Parsons, if you are the guy right out of the gates, why would you? You throw crazy money on top of that, and they had some guys that they thought they couldn't handle. And what are you going to do? Cut me? What are you going to do? You're going to wreak havoc on your salary cap by cutting me when you just gave me this giant bonus that would get accelerated into this year? So those are all factors that go into it. And at the end of the day, the coaches have to be able to develop the guy. It all has to work out. And you never know with any of them what happens until you go out there on a field in a game that counts at full speed. Can you adjust to the highest level of the sport? Where is that ceiling on the guy between whatever he did in college and Canton? Where is that ceiling? And nobody knows. And all this stuff is precursor and preliminary and ultimately unpredictable. We don't know where that ceiling is. Is the guy going to step up? Is he going to step off? Is he going to just say, I've made it. I was a first-round pick. That's all that matters to me. Or is he going to be pissed off that he got like Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah.
Who can list
right.
all the receivers
right.
taken in front of him. And he sank down, to round 4?
Yeah.
And he's still pissed about it.
Yeah.
And still driven by it.
We know that. I mean, we saw Tom Brady. He was pissed about it forever. Sorry, London. I mean, that's part of the draft. And that is the greatness of it, too. It's a little bit of the unknown as well. It's just those little factors, the chip on the shoulder, the motivating factors. What are they? Yeah, if you're a top 5 pick, sometimes you guys just go, I made it. I'm the man. And then we see that first year or two where it's like, wait, they didn't do very well. Well, yeah, they've been telling themselves they're the man. They got to, get the chip on the shoulder that the guy in the 3rd round is pissed that didn't get drafted in the 1st round has, who's working every day and doing all that stuff and going crazy to prove everybody wrong. So that's why it's a great process. It is. And it's hope, as we always talk about. It's hope for all these teams out here. Look, we get these 2 or 3 guys in the draft. Wow, what can we be in the future? And that's the exciting part about it. It really is. And there's just so much, like you said, into it. And it's become a science, whether it's arm length on pass rushers or arm length on tackles. I mean, things are getting broken down into a science, and there are some tangible numbers that carry over at times. But, of course, at times the numbers go out the window, and just the dog in the fight overcomes those numbers that maybe are a detractor or a positive, whatever. So it's human nature. It's everything. But it's one of the big reasons the NFL is king of this country right now as far as sports, because here we are as a country like talking about it almost every day, and it's a month away, and it's literally guys being picked off a board for a game show. I mean, that's what it is, but that's how awesome it is, and that's why football's king.
And the 25th anniversary is approaching of the 2-day period, because back in 2000 it was just a 2-day window for the draft, and this gives you an idea of how ridiculous this process is and how deeply flawed it is. Coming up late next month will be the quarter-century anniversary of the Jets thinking Chad Pennington would be better than Tom Brady, the 49ers thinking Giovanni Carmazzi would be better than Tom Brady, the Ravens thinking Chris Redman would be better than Tom Brady, the Steelers thinking T. Martin would be better than Tom Brady,
right?
The Saints thinking Mark Bulger would be better than Tom Brady, and last and most definitely least, the Browns thinking Spurgeon Wynn would be better than Tom Brady. And, with a name like Spurgeon, I'll leave it at that. So, I got to hold it together.
Well, wait, but that's what's awesome about it too, right? And you do connect dots, and right, you read between the tea leaves and do all that type of stuff. And at a base level, you go back to that time, right? And here, I'll just throw 2 things out, because obviously Brady was underdrafted. We know that, duh.
Well, but it comes to life.
Yes.
When you hear the names.
Yes, it does.
Because none of those guys were slouches.
No.
I mean, Pennington was good.
Right.
And Bulger was pretty good. But Tom Brady is Tom Brady.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.